What's up, people? People of the pod.
This is Ridiculously Happy Peoplecast. I'm Sophia Lemon, and in this episode, I'm talking with Bill Simpson about how the pandemic and chronic disease changed the way he sees his work, how a pilgrimage to his ancestral town put his career in perspective, and how he's come to learn that friendships and fatherhood are the true beacons of happiness in his life. Heads up, if you love a good sunset, you should watch the video version. Bill chose the recording spot himself, right on Georgian Bay in his favorite place, Meaford, Ontario. The link's in the show notes. What makes you ridiculously happy?
So the way I'm going to answer that, I think, is by telling you that it's evolved over time.
Okay.
There was a large chunk of my life where I would have said that things that made me happy were based in achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that stage in my life, that's what I thought happiness was supposed to be all about. But as I've gotten older and acquired some life experience, I now have a different answer. And the things that make me happy today are very much experience-based, not achievement-based. So I get very, very happy if I get that Wordle in the second or third row. I mean, it genuinely makes my day. Time with my friends who, I mean, those guys, any one of them could be a comedian, but when they're all together, it's just like being transported to a different space altogether. And the lightheartedness and the joy of being together as a group is pretty special. And more recently, I would say travel has given me experiences that have been very, very satisfying and genuinely made me happy. So that evolution has taken time, and it wasn't always easy, as silly as that may sound, but yeah, now I don't really care about any more achievements. All I care about are little quiet moments of joy that are either on my own, like my Wordle crossword play, or listening to a song for 100th time and hearing for the first time some phrase or lyric or line that I never paid attention to before. Mm-hmm. That stuff gets me pretty happy.
What are you listening to right now?
Well, that's a great question. As you know, I saw Coldplay on Monday night, and so in the lead up to that, I had a big Coldplay run, and I know those songs.
Yeah.
But I genuinely enjoyed listening to them again. And probably for me, A Sky Full of Stars is at the top. And the way they do it live was just incredible. But if we asked Apple Music what I'm listening to the most right now, I'm quite certain the answer would be Oasis. The reunion of Noel and Liam and the first show last weekend in Wales. I mean, I think I've seen every Instagram reel from those concerts. They sound great. They look great. Mm-hmm. And there are some absolute bangers in that Oasis catalog. Mm-hmm. And there's developing talk about going to see them in Toronto in late August. So I hope that happens.
Did all of you go to Coldplay?
4 of us went.
Yeah.
The other 2 were unavailable. One of the guys was traveling home actually that day from Eastern Canada. And our other friend had a commitment that kept him from being able to come. And so we respect him from that. But 4 of the 6 of us were there, and we had a great time. Yeah, we had a great time. Yeah.
When you hang out with them, do you crack as many jokes as they do? Because from what I remember, you're very quiet in comparison.
Well, on the theory that one or more of them may listen to this, we'll do this on a names-free basis, but there's one that's clearly the loudest and mouthiest of the 6 of us.
Is it the one I'm thinking?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
We actually said on Monday that, I mean, we're almost 50 years old, and these friendships are just on the cusp of 30 years. Mm-hmm. We've been together as a group of friends longer than not. Mm-hmm. And we said on Monday that despite our age and despite how long it's been, it is still within minutes of being together, like transported back to the 90s when we were first getting to know each other and having fun with each other. And it's like no time has passed at all. And I can't really think of a better barometer of quality friendship than that. Yeah. So it's been one of the real blessings in my life, those guys.
How do they like watching Henry grow up?
Well, I mean, it's a good job I'm wearing my sunglasses because I get teary with these kinds of questions. You know, my view is that Henry has 5 uncles, and they certainly would say that about him. If I say in the group chat, we've got practice coming on Tuesday and Thursday, one of them on Wednesday will say, how was practice last night? Or in his games recently, you know, I need to send the group chat the halftime score. I need to send the end of game final score. They want to see the video clips. And so they're as supportive of him as they are of me. And for Henry and I both, that's been very special. Yeah.
So you went to Scotland.
Yeah.
And I've gotten like the condensed version of that. It was meaningful. Why'd you go?
Well, it's kind of a long answer, but I'll give you the long answer because I guess that's what podcasts are about.
Yeah, we have time.
I really did not travel anywhere outside of North America until about 4 years ago. So I'm fairly new to traveling abroad. And I spent just over a week in Edinburgh the Christmas before last. And I had a day trip to St. Andrews, but I was primarily in Edinburgh. And I was very, very impacted by what I saw there. And I immediately wanted to go back. And so in March, I had this really unique opportunity in my work life schedule, I guess, to go. And I went for 10 days. I went by myself. And what I did is I moved from west to east across the Highlands because I'd not seen the Highlands on my first trip to Scotland. And most Scots would concede that the crown jewel of Scotland as a country is the Highlands. They're beautiful. I was also interested in seeing them as much as possible on foot. And so I had about 3 to 4 nights in 3 different locations across the Highlands, and I was day hiking from a base. And on 2 of those stops, I hired guides to take me out on routes that were more difficult or challenging or more remote, where I didn't want to get into trouble and be kind of lost or abandoned. So I forget the exact, I'm pretty confident I did something like 150 or 160,000 steps during my trip. The western part of the Highlands, as compared to the eastern part of the Highlands, are very different. They have a different look, a different feel, a different terrain. I enjoyed all of it immensely. And in the middle part of my trip across the Highlands, I made a point of visiting a very small village called Keith, Keith. And my great-grandfather came to Canada directly from the village of Keith to work for a bank. And in those days, bank managers were not allowed to stay in any one location for very long because the banks worried that if the managers got too friendly with the customers, they'd authorize loans that weren't such a good deal. So they forced them to move like on a circuit. And that brought my grandfather originally to Owen Sound in this area. And when he got noticed that he was going to be moved out of Owen Sound, he and his wife and their family didn't want to give up their connection to this area. And so they bought this lot in Meaford. And if I told you that Meaford is similar to Keith, you might not believe me, because there's no giant Georgian Bay like body of water in Keith. In fact, there's a river, but there's no lake at all. But the role of the hills here at this part of Grey County, and the change in the green to the brown to the blue, is very consistent with what I saw in Keith. And so I have to speculate that part of the attraction of Meaford was it felt like home in Scotland. It felt like maybe what Keith was like. In Gaelic, Keith means breath of fresh air. And to me, that's what Meaford is like. So there were these uncanny connection points for me visiting Keith and stitching that together with my life here at Meaford and my experiences here. And when I got to Keith, I only had an old photograph of a headstone showing the names and dates of birth and death of my great-great-grandparents. But nobody was 100% sure where this headstone was located. And so I went straight to the village library, and two excellent librarians had access to a database, a local database that I can't use from here online. But they helped me, and they got excited when they confirmed that name registered with the cemetery in Keith. They said it's just down the hill at the river. They said, we can't tell you where they are, but that's where they are. I said, no problem, I'll find them. And so I let myself in these really old iron gates, and I started looking for the stones that correlated with the dates I was looking for, and sure enough, I found it. So those are my people. And the headstone is such that it's a family headstone. There's about 9 names on it. I've always understood that in my immediate bloodline, there were 3 William Simpsons, but I discovered when I was there that there was a 4th who died as a teenager in the 19th century. And there were Simpsons all over the cemetery, not just the ones I was looking for. And so I had a quiet moment, just thinking about the fact that at one point, genealogically speaking, much of what's in me came from there. And so that was very, very, very special. And as you know, I just an enormous admirer of the late Queen Elizabeth. Her part of the Highlands was in the east, in what they call the Cairngorms National Park. The Balmoral estate is there, and it's spectacular. And I ended my time in the Highlands on the Balmoral estate, on the land, and it was very evident to me why the Queen considered that to be her special place, just as I consider Meaford to be my special place. Yeah, there's a calm and a quiet, and there's a significant presence of nature that was, I thought, very powerful. Yeah. And then I came down to Edinburgh and had 2 days there, and then I flew home. So I'm already scheming the next itinerary for when I go back.
Okay, what's next then?
Well, on the west coast of Scotland, there's a kind of larger town or small city called Oban, and from there you go off to the Isles of the Hebrides Islands, Isle of Lewis, Isle of Harris, Isle of Mull. I'd like to see all those. That would be important. And believe it or not, I've not really had any proper time in Glasgow, although I'd like to see it. So a trip on the west coast, or predominantly on the west coast, is high on the list. But, if the itinerary drags me to the other side, that wouldn't be so bad either. Yeah.
What did it do for you mentally when you were there?
Oof. Well, I went to Scotland in March because I was on the verge of committing to retiring from my life as a lawyer. And so while I was leaning hard by the time I left in the direction of making that choice, I would say I cemented it while I was there. I don't want to be too cliche here and say that I let go of it in Scotland, but you know, that concept probably applies.
Yeah.
I was hiking on something called the West Highland Way, which is a pretty popular hiking trail. It'd be something like the Bruce Trail here. And I climbed up a segment of it called the Devil's Staircase. It's quite close to a place called Glen Coe. And when I got to the top of the Devil's Staircase, as you would expect, I was gassed. So I sat on a rock and I looked back at the glen. Glen is a Scottish word for valley. I looked back on the glen on this rock, and that was the very moment where I said, I'm done. And then when I got up and started walking away, it was almost like I was walking into something new in terms of my mindset. And so I think the trip to Scotland helped me to finalize the decision making and the commitment around letting that part of my life go. Yeah.
Okay, so at what point did you come to this decision that happiness is more about the experiences versus the achievements?
Well, because achievements weren't making me happy anymore.
No, I know, but at what point? Because your career would be filled with achievements, right?
Yeah. I'm the only person I know that's like a 3-time valedictorian. It's kind of silly, and I don't say that in a boastful way, but I think I maybe came up at a time when society, parents, teachers put a lot of value on awards, distinctions, prizes, that type of thing. So you kind of get ingrained to thinking that that's the currency. And in my lawyer life in the beginning, I suffered greatly with imposter syndrome. And the antidote to that is to outwork them. Well, they can't get rid of me if I just keep working harder. And it takes a long time, I think, on your own, because nobody ever sat me down and said, Bill, you got this all backwards. So I had to come to it on my own terms. I don't know that I could pinpoint a precise moment when, a light bulb went off. I think it was more gradual an evolution than that. But I would say at the start of the pandemic, when we were working from home, that was a big shift in my thinking, because I appreciated not physically going to the office every day. It made a difference in the quality of my life. And I think that was a seed that started to germinate, and through the pandemic and afterwards, it helped me to rethink what's important to me. Yeah. I also, I know you know this because we've known each other for some time and you know about the work, but I think there's a cumulative toll that the trauma in particular takes, and it wears you down. I'm not a psychologist, so I ought not to call it something precise, but if they told me I had some degree of PTSD or some level of vicarious trauma, I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. And I just didn't have the capacity to absorb any more of that.
I noticed, before you almost had a comical way of talking about the things that you were dealing with at work. And after, you almost seemed more tired.
Yeah, interesting. For people watching this, you didn't, that's the first time you've shared that with me. I've not heard that before. Well, somewhere in and around that pandemic time, I began to experience some physical symptoms that were unusual, and that, to make a long story short, led to a working diagnosis of a kind of kidney disease that doesn't have a cure. And treatment regimen started, and it had to continually be adjusted because it wasn't doing enough to hold the symptoms at bay. And so as I was, starting to think about what really is important here to me, what does matter, I was also getting more sick. And let me tell you, you can have 1,000 problems until you get sick, and then you only have one problem. And that's very much been my experience.
You were telling me that you moved into the country when you were 8, right?
Hold on, I started grade 4 in elementary school from the country. I can't do that math fast enough. It might have been 10. But I
think it's 9.
9?
I think grade 4 is 9.
Okay.
Did you skip a grade?
No, whatever age you are in grade 4, that's when I was in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
9.
Yeah.
And you were in the town before that, right?
Well, I was born in the city of Chatham, and I lived in Chatham through the end of grade 3. And then we moved to a rural address. My family didn't farm, but we lived on a country property. Rural route number 1, Blenheim, Ontario. And my sister and I took the school bus from there to school in the town of Blenheim. Blenheim then was about 5,000 people. And so all us country kids went to one elementary school, and all the kids in town went to a different elementary school. We all met up in grade 9 at the one high school that we had in our town. So, yeah, I was, I remember my time in Chatham, but my formative years were spent in Blenheim.
Yeah. And you were coming up here all through that time?
Yes, to varying degrees. Certainly as time went on, like by the time I was in high school, we were coming more than I remember coming in grade 4 and 5. For quite a while, the place in Meaford was what I would call seasonal. It was difficult to access in the winter, and we tended not to come then. But as that property evolved, and as Karen and I got older, my sister, we started coming more and more often. Yeah.
Do you remember a difference?
Between Chatham and Blenheim?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, for starters, we lived with a few neighbors, but not many. So we were really dependent on my parents or the school bus to get us out of the country and to see friends or to go to school or to go to whatever activity we were supposed to do. And I had a very good childhood. Blenheim is a town with a lot of positives, and it still is. It's not the biggest place. In my time, we didn't have Tim Hortons or McDonald's. They have all that now. I drove through it not that long ago, and I was astounded at the amenities that now exist in the town of Blenheim. We had a 7-Eleven.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad though.
7-Eleven was kind of the hub.
Is that where you all went, all the time?
Exactly. But once we got a little older, like once somebody got their license, grade 11, grade 12, we could go to Chatham.
Okay.
We could go to McDonald's, or we could go to the movies, or we could do stuff that we just couldn't do in Blenheim. So, yeah, there was a significant difference in size. There was a significant difference in resources. And it's also a bit cliche, but everybody knows everybody in Blenheim. I didn't know everybody in Chatham, and I probably wouldn't have even if I stayed there. But I knew who everybody was in Blenheim, and they knew us. And
is that good?
Wave at each other coming down the road in our cars because you knew who it was.
Did that get you in trouble at all?
No.
So you were not a shit disturber growing up?
No.
When did you become a shit disturber?
I'm still not a shit disturber.
I don't believe that.
Well, as I think you know, my dad taught high school English and taught at the high school in Blenheim that Karen and I went to.
Okay.
So we often struggled with the fact that while he, I think, did a pretty good job of giving us some room, the reality is nothing happened that he didn't hear about himself or know about, because it's a small town and a small community and the only high school going. So we were pretty law and order-ish, and we were both involved. My sister Karen and I were both involved in clubs and sports and extracurricular stuff, and you know, we didn't drift too far off the script. Mm-hmm. But I'm not a by nature I'm not a risk-taking kind of guy. Mm-hmm. I'm a rule follower.
You picked the right career.
Yeah, it's just always been that way.
I mean, you've said though that you've had to be like creative with that stuff still.
What, rule following?
With your career.
Give me an example.
I don't have one.
Okay.
You like to argue with people. Let's start with that.
Yeah, the best lawyers are terrific at taking a very small sliver of a chance and making it into something realistic. Mm-hmm. And it requires a certain level of creativity, practice, ingenuity. Some lawyers have it and some don't. And that's okay. That's not to criticize the ones that can't. But the good ones can do it. Mm-hmm. And so I suppose I practiced that over time.
At what point do you think you developed that skill?
Fairly early on. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I say to young lawyers today when they ask me that I think one of the best things they can do to enhance their lawyer skills is to read.
Okay.
Read fiction. Mm-hmm. Be open to and aware of how imagination helped create a story or a character or a plot line. And when you think about it in those terms, that same creativity and imagination and originality brought to bear in your lawyer life is hugely valuable. Mm-hmm. If you're not inspired at home on the weekend or in the evening by what you're reading, how are you going to bring any inspiration to the work? Mm-hmm. And I still maintain that, and I will maintain that in retirement, that is a low-hanging piece of fruit to become a better litigator, better trial lawyer. Mm-hmm. Over the course of my lawyer life, reading was my source of inspiration. And I'm very fussy about reading. Mm-hmm. If you say to me that you read a book and you listened to an audiobook, I get upset that you didn't read the book. You can say, I've listened to that story. Somebody read that story to me, but you cannot say you read that story because you did not. And, I can live with paperback versus hardcover.
Okay, that would be absurd if you were getting picky about that.
But I think holding a book and waiting with suspense to get to the last word on that page before you can turn it is part of the experience of reading.
Okay, so every time I say I'm reading it on my Kindle, you get upset.
No, it triggers me slightly, but you're reading it, not listening to it. And I can accept that you're just hovering your finger over the tap part of your Kindle, which is close enough for me.
Okay, fair enough. What are you reading now?
I knew you were going to ask me something like that.
Or what all are you
Well,
reading?
I read this memoir by a guy in New York City who's a restaurateur. Mm-hmm. And Henry and I have been to his restaurant in Manhattan several times. And it's an interesting memoir because he's unusually candid about his own shortcomings. Memoirs often tend to be written like we leave out all the unflattering parts and we just focus on the accomplishments. This guy kind of did the opposite.
Okay.
I found that to be very good. His name was Keith McNally. And the title of the book is I Regret Almost Everything.
Okay, that's a good title.
I also read a biography by a Canadian who, for many, many, many years, was the editor of Vanity Fair magazine. And I read an interview of him at the time this book came out. And his name is Grayson Carter, I think. Yeah. And in it, he was asked the question what he had read recently. And he gave an answer, and I didn't recognize the author's name, which is kind of surprising. Like, I kind of think I know who most of the big writers are.
Yeah.
So I immediately ordered up this book that he referenced, and I thought it was excellent. And then I tracked down some of the older versions, and I've just read them too. But I haven't read anything for a couple of weeks. We're doing this interview mid-July. I haven't really read anything since the end of June. I've been on a small break.
From reading? You're on a break from reading. What did reading do to you?
Well, I had a big run there, and I had to watch season 3 of The Bear, so I got through that. Henry's doing grade 12 English in summer school to get ahead, and so I'm trying hard not to get too involved with helping, but he's just dusted off Hamlet, and I think he has to read Life of Pi, and so I'm just on standby to see if he needs any help with those essays.
Does he like reading?
No.
Does he like writing?
No.
Okay.
He's very good at both, but he doesn't enjoy it.
Okay. Fair enough. Wait, I want to hear about football. You never told me about football until all the conversation about Henry.
Henry's football?
Yeah. I didn't know that you played football.
Yeah, I mean, to say I played football in the same context of Henry playing football is just probably not fair. I played football in high school and really enjoyed it. And for a small town, we had a pretty good team. We had good coaches that had played at the university level. And they cared about us as high school kids. You know, in those days, we had a primitive weight room that we could use, and our practices were very structured and very organized, and we were a winning team. Henry's opportunities at school to try to compare an apple to an apple are way beyond what I ever knew in high school. They have coaches who are helping the school team that are from outside the school. The equipment, the facility, the resources are all far superior to what we had at Blenheim High School in 1993. But my favorite part of Henry's football story is that he actually got cut in grade 9. And he was pretty devastated. He wanted to play.
Yeah.
But to his credit, he kept chipping away and working at it. And he made the team in grade 10. And then this opportunity to be part of a club in London called the Junior Mustangs, which plays in the summer in the Ontario Summer Football League, has just been, I would almost say, life-changing. The caliber of football that these kids play is incredible. They are super athletes. They are hugely well coached. They are committed. And it shows on the field. So we've got, hopefully, 2 games left. The semifinal is coming up. And then if there's a win, they'll go on to the championship game and hopefully take it all. They won it all last year, so the expectations are high that they'll repeat again. But they go to practice Tuesday and Thursday from 6:45 till 10:30, which is often more like 10:45 or 10:50 by the time they come off. Games on the weekend. Often at home, they connect by Zoom for film study with their position coaches. I mean, it's remarkable, the commitment, not just to the players, like the families, the coaches, the volunteers that make this thing possible. And so, you know, every kid on this team, in my view, is a winner because they're returning to their school teams that much better a player by virtue of what they've experienced. And they tend to all be kids that really like each other because they're kind of the same kid. They're big into sports, they're big into football. They understand teamwork and camaraderie and, you know, supporting one another, and I think it's great. Yeah. But like, Henry could be drafted in a way that I'd never be drafted as a high school football player. Yeah.
Didn't you hurt yourself?
Yeah, I did. I came to when I left high school. We didn't even really have recruiting in those days. You just kind of showed up and tried out for a team if you wanted to play at university. And so I had come to London late in the August of 1995, and I was maybe 3 or 4 days into it, that is training camp at Western, and I had a tendon in my right shoulder come off the bone it was a totally unintentional injury. Yeah. But I ended up withdrawing, and I had a surgery that fall in my first year, and they reattached it, and I never played again. Yeah,
so you thought, well, screw football, I'll become a lawyer.
Well, at that point, I didn't have, I didn't really decide to be a lawyer or try to be a lawyer until almost the end of my undergrad program, when a lot of kids started thinking about, well, what am I going to do when this ends? And the only thing I thought I was good at was asking questions and arguing with people, so I thought maybe I should be a lawyer. And I liked the idea of law in kind of an Atticus Finch model. Like, I never once wanted to work for a big company or a bank. Not that there's anything wrong at all with that type of law, it's just not for me. I have always resonated with the underdogs. People get taken advantage of, the people that can't kind of speak for themselves. And so I kind of thought, well, if I can make a career out of lawyering in that way, maybe that's what I should do.
So at what point did you pick personal injury?
If I said that it picked me, would you believe me?
It sounds like something you would say.
If it's not an answer to the question, would you believe me?
That makes sense to me, yeah.
I got a job offer. It's still kind of the same, but in my day, you had to apprentice. Like, you finished law school, and then you had to apprentice for a little over a year and write your bar admission exams. And that's kind of a long haul. But when you're apprenticing, you're being moved around to different practice types, which is a good idea. They want you to have exposure to different things. But the person who hired me, who went on to be just an enormously valuable mentor and teacher for me, did personal injury work himself. And so when he offered me the job and I accepted it, that's how I initially started in plaintiff work. But as the years went on, I don't think there was anything chance about that at all. I think that was the plan.
I don't know what else you would have done.
I don't either. I have a lot of admiration for lawyers in other practice areas because I couldn't do it. And to be honest with you, I'm not even sure I understand it. And I am a lawyer.
Yeah. That's good.
There's very talented lawyers in practice areas, but I absolutely found my niche, and it was the right niche for me, but I can acknowledge that there are many other areas of law that just wouldn't have worked. Yeah.
So, like, how many of your friends and family, when you went into personal injury, were like, and law, were like, this makes sense? Like, at what point did you start arguing with everyone?
Oh, well, I've argued informally for years, like long before I came to law school. Yeah, I think my friends and family would say that from their vantage point, being a personal injury lawyer is what I was meant to do. And I think that they supported me, certainly, but I think they can also see why it was a good fit. Yeah.
What do you think Henry's going to do?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this story. Until about 3 years ago, with my voice, I used to say to him things like, I don't think you should be a lawyer. I think I even went so far as to say, I don't want you to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
And the place I was coming from was, it is a tough lifestyle, at least the way I experienced it. And what I wish more people said to me was, Bill, you just do something that's going to make you happy. That is the metric that matters the most. And what I want for Henry is simply to be happy. And I really don't care what he does for a job or a profession or a career, as long as it makes him happy. But 3 years ago, he, on his own, prepared and delivered a speech at a family event to maybe 50 people, 40 people. And I did not know in advance what he was going to say. I did not have a practice session with him. I was sitting, listening at the same time as everybody else. And he would have been 13, maybe 14. I was astonished. I was astonished at the quality of what he wrote and the way in which he delivered it. And from that day till now, I have never repeated to him, I don't think you should be a lawyer. I've said to him, if you want to be a lawyer and you're choosing it because you think it's going to make you happy, you would be a wonderful addition to the profession because you have a gift around speaking publicly. I can see him taking what I saw that day and becoming a very effective orator, and the law needs that. So I've swung the pendulum right back to the middle, and I've seen in him some flashes of real ability as far as I'm concerned, but it's 100% his decision.
Does he say he wants to be a lawyer?
Yeah, he's interested in it. He took law this past semester at school, and I was under very strict instructions that I could not interact with the teacher for fear that the law teacher, finding out that I was a lawyer, would invite me to be a guest speaker, which of course I definitely would have done. And Henry did not ever invite me as the semester went along to help him with any of the assignments. And he got a really terrific mark, and he got it on his own, literally. And so, he has some strength there. Yeah.
He's a lot like you.
Oh, he'll be mortified to hear that, but I think there's a lot in common.
Do people say that to him all the time?
I don't know. I'm going to ask him that, actually. That's a good question.
You have the same, I can't even do it because I'll giggle, stoic.
Yeah. Well,
politeness.
As long as he only mimics the best of me and not the less attractive parts, I guess that's the strategy.
Okay, so when you write a memoir, because you're going to have to write a memoir, are you going to go over all of your shortcomings?
I certainly would try my best. When I got a little more committed to this retirement idea, people would say to me, "Oh, you should be a writer," and it's really flattering, right, to hear that. I don't know what exactly I would write about just yet. I don't feel I'm old enough to have a memoir in me. I think you gotta be a little older. You gotta have there's another few chapters I gotta live before I can write them in a book. I don't really think I'm a novelist. I mean, I don't know, so I don't know. I write my little Instagram posts, and I write to people all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a nice compliment, but I haven't really had an aha moment where I thought, okay, yes, I should be some kind of professional writer, and this is what I'm going to write about. I mean, can you imagine J.K. Rowling just riding the bus in Edinburgh and coming up with Harry Potter in her head? It's incredible.
No.
But she did.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that.
Maybe when your brain has some space from arguing, something profound
I hope it
will
does.
come to you.
One of the big possibilities that I'm open to is that there's going to come a moment that I can't see right now where the next big thing is going to present itself to me. And I'm quietly excited for that.
Mm-hmm. So cooking, reading.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to do at the moment, I know this will sound maybe silly, but I'm trying to consistently calm down my nervous system.
Yeah.
And the ways in which I'm doing that are spending time outside, usually in motion, hiking, walking, cycling. Trying to teach myself how to cook and bake. I'm very excited to have a stand mixer now. And I got a big boy unit in case I get really serious. And I've made lots of mistakes.
Right.
As you do when you're trying something new. I've been trying to replicate shortcake the way I've eaten it in Scotland.
Okay.
Which is less thin, sugary cookie and more
Chocolate.
thick bar-ish.
Wait,
Yeah.
Does this involve the chocolate?
Only when you make millionaire shortbread.
Well, that should be the only one.
Yeah, that's the only deviation that I'm aware of that Scots will tolerate. This like cranberry chocolate chip stuff, I've never seen that in Scotland. So I've been keeping the butter industry afloat because when I botch one batch or I don't like this combination of things, I just keep going. And so that's all been good. And I'm not ever probably going to be a gardener, but I'm trying to stop and say, what is that plant? Or what is that bird? And I'm enjoying that for right now. Yeah. So just trying to find quiet moments to just kind of not be amped up every day. Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's easier said than done.
How much time are you sitting by the water?
Not enough. I know there's going to come a time in my life when I can be here more than I can right now. It's really important to me that Henry have the opportunities that he's having and for me to be part of them. Me and several other families, we sit in the bleachers for all these practices. Kids are out there shivering in the rain and we're shivering in the bleachers, but I genuinely enjoy it. And I feel like it's not only my way of supporting him, but it's supporting the club and the program and the other parents who are making sacrifices for their kid to be on this team. And so, for now, I'm in a phase where, as long as he's playing, my time to be here in the summertime is going to be limited. But that's okay. That's okay. It'll be here when I'm ready.
No wonder you had to retire.
Yeah. Something like that.
You turned into a teenager and then it had to happen.
Exactly. Well, I say this lightheartedly, but I think my lawyer life was a lot like a dog aging. Every year I did was probably the equivalent of 7 wear and tear years.
It's a lot to absorb from other people, what they would have been dealing with when you were working with them.
When I went to law school, nobody said anything to me about burnout. Nobody told me about trauma. Do you know how many pictures I've seen of people who died in terrible ways? Children died in terrible ways. How many grieving parents I've sat with repeatedly who've lost a child. And, it feels so often like the law is just a very, very inadequate answer to those kind of life challenges. But that's the reality of doing injury work at a high level, and how much death can or should one lawyer take? It's hard, and I'm not criticizing anybody. I'm not criticizing my firm. I'm not criticizing my profession, but there's an absolutely inadequate level of training and preparation and support for lawyers who do this kind of work. And to not think that it takes a human toll is a serious misunderstanding of what it is we're doing.
I think in general as a culture we're finding that across the board now, right?
Yeah. So much of what we talk about in society is at the surface. And largely what I'm experiencing, or what I have experienced, is much, much deeper than that. But I've been on my own for a lot of it, trying to work my way through it. Which is why those friends are so valuable. Because I took so much of that day-to-day struggle to them, and they've supported me the whole way. Sometimes with humor, sometimes with empathy, and sometimes with a mix of both. Yeah. I guess the folks can see this, but it's pretty much postcard perfect night on southern Georgian Bay, and we're looking out at the Niagara Escarpment, which has been there for millions of years and will still be there for millions of years. And the water is pretty calm. For quite a long time, one of the reasons I've liked coming to Meaford in this area so much is because nobody knows me and I don't know but a handful of people myself. You know, in London, I got to be nervous going to the grocery store. Like, am I going to dodge a judge in the aisle? Am I going to see some lawyer I gave a hard time to on a case the week before? So, have I brushed my teeth and all that kind of stuff? You know, here there's a level of anonymity that I don't have in London.
Yeah.
And so, I like being here for those reasons too, very much. I saw somebody just the other day and visited them in Thornbury, and I showed up in just this outrageously mismatched outfit. I mean, they didn't care and I didn't care. It was great.
You showed up in a mismatched outfit?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was
what
just
were
outrageous.
you wearing?
Well, I had like crew socks that I think were pink, and I had blue-ish shorts, and I don't honestly remember the shirt, but it matched neither the shorts nor the socks. Everybody was great. Who cares?
You know you don't have to match your clothes all the time.
I don't know. I think maybe. In certain circumstances. Yeah.
Wait, is your kilt in yet?
No.
You need to get a kilt.
Oh, yeah. But see, I'm not to be enabled on these kinds of things because I often lack restraint.
It's just more plaid.
So when I dropped down to Edinburgh at the end of this trip in March, I made an appointment at a shop that does Highland dress.
Yeah.
And it's actually somewhat tricky to figure out your tartan. For the non-Scots who are listening to this, no Scottish person would be caught dead wearing any tartan other than their own.
Yeah.
Although there are some universal tartans.
Yeah.
Anybody can wear them. But like, you wouldn't wear my clan's tartan and I wouldn't wear yours because they'd punch us out. Like, it'd just be terrible. So my particular clan, as most clans do, there's at least 5 or 6 different tartans that all have a purpose.
Yeah.
There's hunting tartans.
Yeah.
And they tend to be more muted, so you blend in the forest. And then there's dress tartan, modern tartan. So figuring out your clan and your tartan options is the first challenge. Then the second is picking one of them. And that's, to go back to what you asked me, like, I'd have to have kilts, plural.
Yeah.
Because I see a need to have all of them. So,
Okay.
I mean,
Are you going to go hunting?
no, but I don't know. Maybe if I was going around like on a Saturday morning with errands, I just need my hunting tartan. I don't need my dress tartan.
So that no one notices you in your kilt.
Exactly.
You can maintain your anonymity in Meaford.
Exactly. That's right. Oh, here he comes. He's got his tartan on again.
People definitely would not notice you in a kilt.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I think they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they really are. One of my favorite things at the moment is I follow quite a bit of bagpipe content. And I don't play, but I recognize many of the tunes, and I have some favorites. And so all Ford Henry on Instagram, the reel of some pipe band that's been captured on footage. So I get a lot of delight thinking about the fact that he's with his friends in the cafeteria, and he thinks it's, you know, Dad sending some Detroit Tigers or Detroit Lions reel, and all of a sudden it's like 500 bagpipes flaring up at once, and all the other kids say, "What is that?" I live for those.
Maybe that's what you need to do in retirement, is learn the bagpipes.
I'm not opposed to that.
Then you definitely need a kilt.
And I need about 100 acres so that I'm not right next to anybody when it's going down.
I've been reading in like Thornbury, there's pipers.
Are there?
And I've been reading in like the community forums and stuff on Facebook, people being like, I can hear bagpipes, it's beautiful. Who is it? So don't even worry about it. You're right on the water.
Yeah.
Grace everyone with your bagpipes. Did you watch Friends?
No. But most people that I know have positive feelings about pipes. And so I imagine if I played here on the beach, people would come out and they'd just be glad to listen. Yeah. But
So there you go.
you know, they were originally intended to warm up the troops before battle. They were a portable instrument to play on the edge of a battlefield to warm them up.
Like the troops would play the bagpipes.
Yeah. And it's a centuries-old tradition. In the Second World War, the Nazis referred to the Scottish units as the ladies from hell because they'd fire up the pipes even in the Second World War. And the Germans would hear them coming. Scottish regiments frequently got the toughest of the assignments because they are tough. And they were all Highlanders. And they had pipe beats. And I love that little bit of Scottish culture and history.
You're going to have to go to the Fergus Highland Games.
Yeah, I mean, that's, as far as I know, that's the biggest one we have in our part of Ontario. They come from all over for that. Yeah, no, they're special. Internalizing is, in some respects, important. I think it's important that we think introspectively about ourselves and about situations and about experiences, because sometimes we understand how we can do it better or different the next time. But being introspective to the exclusion of other things is, I'm not sure that's so good. You know, so as always, there's a balance there, and I'm not sure I've always got that balance right, but I'm working at it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think about yourself now versus like 10 years ago?
Well, in some ways, leaving aside my health situation, I'm as good today as I've ever been. I'm better today at 49 almost than I was at 39, and certainly better than I was at 29. In a lot of ways, I'm pretty good. If I could just kind of hold this trajectory for a while, I'd be happy.
That's good.
Yeah. There's I don't remember the exact phrase right at the moment, but, you know, for quite a long time, I had what I would call a one-dimensional life, where 85% of my time and energy was just all channeled into law stuff. And so there wasn't a lot of balance. And that if I could do that over again, I would. What I'm achieving now is much better balance. I'm not sure about the percentages exactly, because my recent retirement is creating a shift, but the goal is to be a much more multi-dimensional person who has more proportionate amounts of time in a different variety of categories than what I've known before.
At what point did we meet in this journey of becoming a...
Well, I mean, I can't cheat and look at my phone, but I'm thinking it was about 2017 or 18. It was definitely before the pandemic, and it was here in Meaford. I think it might have been 18, actually.
Yeah, it was 18.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in the summer, June or July.
May.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the guys came.
Yeah.
And somewhere after Henry was born, I started getting far more concerned about photographing moments and experiences to observe them. Like, I had it in my head that I was going to, over time, accumulate this huge collection of pictures, and they'd be these really positive experiences. And I was fully in that mode by the time the guys came to Meaford, and I got it in my head that I had to get a photographer, and we had to get a picture of the guys all together. And that's how I came to reach out to you. And you were a good sport, because my recollection is that was on fairly short notice. Like a day or two, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think the day before you called.
And you came. And we were in full comedic effect by the time you arrived.
Sure.
And so it was just, it was instantly comfortable for us, and I hope for you. And the upshot of it is that beautiful photograph that still hangs on my wall in the house. And when they come, they still look at it and they still talk about it. So it achieved the original goal.
Well, next time they come, tell them that it was probably, to this day, the most hysterical shoot that I've had.
I'm telling you, that they are all hilarious. If we owned a comedy club, we wouldn't need to hire anybody. We just all take our own turn up there.
It could work well.
Yeah.
But what I meant was, like, when did you start this, like, trying to become a more multifaceted individual? Because I would have said that about you before.
That I was multifaceted?
Do you think this is a recent thing?
Well, so that's interesting. I would say that it is, but you may have a different perspective. You're saying that you've thought maybe for some time that I was more multifaceted, more dimensions to me than I see in myself. Maybe we're both right, but I'm trying now to spend as much time in the kitchen as I am reading, as I am doing fitness things, as I am just sitting looking out the window. And I hope that the consequence of that is just a more stabilized nervous system and happiness, and kind of a soft, I'm reaching for the soft life. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No more sports cars?
No, they're all gone.
Well, they're all gone?
Yeah. Never say never, but I recognize that I'm hugely blessed and I've been very fortunate, but I have a very good friend who's about a decade older than me. He's kind of like an older brother, and he said something to me one day that I never forgot, which is that experiences are always more valuable than stuff. The experiences of life are worth more than the stuff of life. Not all the time, but I think sometimes I had more stuff and not enough experience. And now I'm interested basically in experiences.
So what's the next experience?
Well, there's a couple of things I would love to experience. I would love to go to Africa. I would like to go to Botswana, to someplace called the Okavango Delta. I would like to see South Africa. There's much of Africa I would like to see. I would really like to go to Japan.
Okay.
And God willing, if I'm healthy enough, I would like to go to Patagonia, and I would like to see that part of the world.
Yeah.
So those are some things that I have on my own bucket list. that are all travel based. Yeah. I'd like to see Stevie Wonder in concert before I can't.
Yeah.
He's always been somebody that I've admired and see as an icon, and I've not seen him in person. I'd like to do that. And yeah, I mean, I don't think I could go to Scotland too much. I cannot conceive that there would ever come a time where I'd say, no, I don't want to go to Scotland anymore. I'm good.
Be like going to Meaford on steroids.
Yeah. When I was a little boy, I actually only learned this about a year ago. And if I did know this one, I absolutely 100% forgot. But when I was little, my grandparents went to Scotland on a trip, and they brought home tartan fabric. And either my mom or my grandma made me clothes from it. I had pants and a vest, and I think I had a tam o' shanter, which is kind of like a Scottish beret. And I wore this thing. The point is, I wore tartan as a little boy, like 4 or 5 years old. When I was a little kid, I remember loving shortbread. I could not understand these other kids my age who just turned their tongue out at it and they said it was gross. I mean, I didn't know what they're talking about. I thought it was just spectacular. And I've always had an eye for like old stone buildings and barns. There's something about it. I can't articulate it precisely, but I like old barns and things out of stone. So when I go to Scotland, and people eat shortbread all the time, it's not a Christmas thing. They have it with tea or coffee. It's a small snack.
Yeah.
The whole country is made of old stone because it is old, and that was the predominant material. And today, even if you're not in a kilt, the presence of tartan, there's an enormous amount of Scottish pride in tartan culture. It's everywhere. Those are all things that I like.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm very proud to be Canadian, and I think Canada has wonderful qualities and attributes. But my Scottish lineage is a great source of pride for me, and it's something I hope to learn more about, to know more about.
Have you ever done your DNA?
No, but that's in the works. It's actually necessary for some health issues. So my God, I hope I don't turn up Irish as a surprise, but I don't think that's going to happen.
You're going to have Irish in you.
I mean,
that's going to be a component.
Am I?
It's like there's no choice.
I mean, I don't actively dislike the Irish, but as a Scottish person, you don't drift over that line. You're either Scottish or you're not. I'm Scottish.
I sent you my breakdown, didn't I?
I think you did, yeah. I think you had like some Viking or...
Yeah.
That's where the redhead comes from, I'm sure.
Yeah. Also the attitude.
Yeah. Fiery.
I'm so are you going to do that, DNA?
Yeah.
You have to send that to me.
I will.
When you get it.
I'll share it with you.
You watch, it's going to be like a high percentage of Irish.
I hope not. Clan Lovett, don't fail me now. I'm under at WAG Simpson. Lawyers are quite obsessive about middle initials.
Yes.
And so from the day I started in law, I was known as William Alexander Gordon Simpson, and the business cards and the nameplates. And so I just kind of defaulted to that when I had Instagram for the first time. None of my friends call me that. And
what would they call you?
Well, sometimes they call me Wags.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my Instagram handle. You can look for me there, or I think I'm still on the Learner's website. You can find me there, or they can get in touch with you and say, I had a hold of this guy. But I hope, well, first of all, if somebody listened to this and they're watching this scene that we're looking out at, it's, to me, like, that's worth listening to it, just to see that footage. It's been a really beautiful night, I think, and spectacular vista. And yeah, maybe, I don't know this, but if somebody's listening to this and they're considering law, or they're in law, or they're struggling with some of the things I reference, they should reach out to me.
That's this episode of Ridiculously Happy People Cast. There's more open, unfiltered, and unrushed conversations like this coming soon. So if you like what you've heard, subscribe to the show. You'll find it at sophialemon.com and in your podcast app of choice. You can find me at Ridiculously Happy People, and that's spelled PPL, on social media. I'm Sophia Lemon. I photograph ridiculously happy people. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon.
Thank you.